So let's talk about storage, specifically mobile phone storage, because this is a bit of a pet hate of mine. I remember back in the day, all mobile phones had micro SD card slots, so it was nice and easy to upgrade the storage. Then came the iPhone, which has never had a micro SD card slot, so upgrading the iPhones is not easily possible. I know there's videos out there that if you know what you're doing, you can reflow a new chip and flash it, etc. But that's out of the reach of most people. So what you really need to do is to be able to see into the future to know how much storage you're going to need. Now obviously that's not possible, but now it looks like decokee has the solution to all our problems. It's not perfect, because obviously perfect would mean the phone would have exactly the same footprint, but it's the next best thing. Decokee have made this SSD storage, which is a little round disk that MagSafes to the back of your iPhone. It's got some cool little RGB, and it takes an M.2 2230 SSD. Now we'll have a closer look at it in a moment. I just want to give them a shout out for sending this for free for review, but as always my opinions are my own and my own alone. I am going to be taking this thing apart to see how it ticks. I am going to run speed tests. We're going to find out everything there is to know about this SSD storage solution. Now this should be on Kickstarter by the time you watch this video, and I'll put a link in the description below. But this isn't the first product this company has made. They have made one in the past, which again, very similar product, but it wasn't really designed to be MagSafed to the back of an iPhone. Now just a quick note here before you tune out because you don't have an iPhone. I've tested this with the Google Pixel 9 Pro and it works perfect as well. Yes, you have to have a case on it that supports MagSafe, but they also give you a little accessory in the box. So this will basically go on anything. Laptops, tablets. I've even tested it on a Samsung tablet A9, which is one of the really cheap Samsung tablets. It will basically go on anything. So I guess the best thing to do, first of all, is do an unboxing. And quick disclaimer, the packaging hasn't been finalized yet, so the packaging that you're going to see in this video is for their older product, but they just needed something to ship it out in. So let's jump on over to the top down camera and do this unboxing. So as I said, the packaging is going to be different, so completely ignore all of this packaging, the front, the back, etc. Let's get it opened up and have a look at the device itself. And as you can see, it's that round disc with a clear window on the top. Now it is made very well. It's aluminium or aluminum if you're in America. It's got that USB-C port, and oh, we've got a peel. So let's peel this off. Nice, we can see a close-up there of that sort of see-through window at all the components inside, and of course it does double as a stand for your phone as well, so that's a nice little extra touch. And then this ring here that I've just pulled off, this is so you can stick it to anything you want. If we have a look in the packaging again, we have a USB-C to USB-C cable, and it claims to be 40 gigabytes a second, 8K, etc, etc, so it's a decent cable. So having a closer look at the actual puck itself, we'll probably just refer to it as the SSD puck. It's magnetized on the back, so you can use the MagSafe, and we've got two phones here. We've got an iPhone 16 Pro Max and a Google Pixel 9 Pro, both of which have MagSafe compatible cases, and it sticks really strong onto the back. It's very firm, very sturdy, and then if we take the cable and plug it in, it's gonna light up with that RGB goodness, and we're basically going to be able to access all 1 terabyte of the storage. And as we connect it here, we'll bring it closer to the camera so you can see the RGB, and we can get a closer look at the chips and everything inside. It looks really cool. So just to show you, we've disconnected it from the iPhone. We're going to connect it to this Google Pixel 9 Pro, and again, as long as your phone's got USB-C, it's going to connect just fine, and we're going to be able to use all that storage. As you can see, the RGB is lit up, which means it's connected. So what do you do if you want to use it on a tablet, say this old Samsung A9, and you don't have a case for it? Well, the ring will just stick onto the back, and I've already got one on this Samsung tablet, and as you can see, it connects just fine, and it's probably at the maximum sort of distance away from the USB-C port that you want to go. As we can see, this cable does fit. This is a 7-inch tablet, and there we go. It's all connected up, and as you can see, the RGBs come on, and I did unlock it and check to make sure that it's showing up in the storage, and it did. It showed me that it had 1 terabyte of storage on there, and you can just about see it there. 1 terabyte of storage, so that's ready to use. So the great thing is they're going to be selling this in a few different configurations. You will be able to buy it standalone with no SSD installed, and that's fantastic because if you do have a 2230 M.2 lying around, you can just stick your own one in there, and obviously that makes things cheaper for you. But you can get it with a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte. The one I received had a 1 terabyte already installed, and we'll take it apart, have a look at that SSD a little bit later on in the video. But first of all, I just wanted to mention that I've had a look on their website, and it's not an Apple situation where if you go from 256 gig to 512 gig, say in a laptop, they're going to charge like £200 just for that extra 256 gigabyte. What they're actually doing is charging less than I can buy that SSD myself, and that's really nice to see. So they're obviously buying these SSDs in bulk and then offering them at a much cheaper price. So it's more financially viable to actually get one with an SSD than buying it separate and then buying your own. If you've already got one, that's a different story, but I just wanted to mention that because it worked out at about $20 cheaper to get the SSD with it than to buy it and then buy an SSD. Now it does support Gen 4 M.2 SSDs and the previous generation, so if you've got an old one, like I said. But Gen 4 SSDs are actually quite fast, but when you're putting it in an SSD enclosure, you're never going to get the maximum speeds. So let's run a speed test on it. Let's see how fast that SSD is. Then we're going to connect it to my phone. We're going to use a program called Copy That, and I'm going to back up all my photos and videos, because that's the main reason and the main use case that you'll be using one of these, so you can back up all your stuff. You've got it safe, and then you can continue taking more photos and videos because you've freed all that space up. So let's jump on over to my Mac and have a look to see how fast this drive actually is. So here we are on my MacBook, and we've opened the disk speed test by Blackmagic. We're just going to change a few settings here. We'll stress it at 1 gigabyte, and then we're going to select the target drive. Of course, it's going to be the DK, and we've just selected the root of that drive because it's going to basically put some files on there. I don't think there's anything else we need to change, so let's go ahead and start the test. And it's going to run a write test and a read test, and then it's going to carry on doing those until it's sort of settled at some figures. Now, as you can see, we're getting a write speed of 1. And as you can see, we're getting a write speed of about 1,600 megabytes a second. So that's fantastic for transferring stuff off the phone. A read speed of about 900 megabytes a second. Again, these are really fast speeds. So they're pretty decent speeds, and as you've seen, we use that Blackmagic software. You can use any sort of speed test software, but that software is really good because if you're editing videos in DaVinci Resolve, looking at the list and the output, I can pretty much do any video editing direct from that SSD. So that's really nice to know. So next, let's actually do something practical, real world scenario. Let's back up all the photos and videos from my iPhone 16 Pro, so then I can take loads more photos and videos and then back them up and end up with a massive collection of everything all on that SSD. So let's jump on over to my phone now and see how that performs. So as I said, we're going to use Copy That by Otherworld, and this is a really good app. So this is the free version, because I dare say most people will use the free version. If you go in, it will say everything that you can change. It is $2.99, so it's not a great deal, but we have to do all the dates. And there's one other thing that we can't do. We can't delete all the images and videos once we've copied them across. So we've selected the DK 1TB SSD, and then it's a simple case of hitting copy that. It's going to ask for permission to access your photos and your videos. You click allow full access and then look at it go. It is really quick at copying. I have blurred it out because I do have a lot of personal photos on here as well, and it's just really quick at copying everything across. It will have a slight little pause when it sort of downloads the videos, but then again, they are in 4K and some of them are quite large. So I definitely recommend this app, and it's great that you do have a free version, but to be honest, I think I would really recommend paying for the full version. So as I said, we use that program Copy That, and the free version will do exactly what you want it to do. It would be nice to have the feature to be able to delete everything off there as well. So $2.99 or $3. It's not a bad price to pay for that app to have those extra options. I was actually really impressed how fast it copied everything across. It only took about 4 minutes and it freed up about 30 gigabytes of storage. So I was really impressed with that, and I think I might actually pay the $2.99 for that app so I can use it going forward. So there's one last thing I want to do. I'm going to take the back off, because for people that are thinking about this and then putting their own SSD in it, let's see how easy it is to basically get into it, and then we can have a look at how you would take the SSD out, or for people that are buying it, of course, with nothing in it, see how easy it is to put an SSD in there. So back to the top down camera and let's take it apart. Now taking it apart is super easy. If you look at the back, there's going to be 4 screws, and these are like little star screws. I think this is what's called a T16H, I think. It's really hard to see on these screw bits, but I'm pretty sure that they'll actually provide you with the screwdriver especially if you buy it without an SSD in there. So as I said, we've got 4 of these screws. We're going to take these out and then lift that back panel off. So there we go, we have those screws off, and there is a little notch in here. You might just be able to get your nail in there and then pop that panel off. There we go. So we've popped that off, and then we can see that SSD. So front and center, we've got the SSD. It does have some of this heat transferring thermal pad on there, so we're just going to peel this off. But as you can see, we've got the OSCO 2230 PCIe Gen 4 NVMe 1TB SSD, and then it's just this little Phillips screw here, just like you would do when you were changing out an SSD on a PC. So you take that screw out, swap it out, or of course if you're putting it in there, the screw will already be in there, or it will be included in the box. So of course that's nice and easy. 4 screws, you take the back off, and then it's just like installing an SSD in, say, a desktop PC or laptop. Unfortunately, not a MacBook, because everything's soldered into those things. So it was really cool that I could back up my iPhone, and of course I can put photos and videos on there. You can use it on pretty much anything with a USB-C port, so Macs, Androids, Windows PCs, everything. It came formatted as exFAT, and which basically recognized by everything. So it was just a really simple, straightforward process. Never had any configuration or any issues whatsoever. It's a really nice device. It's solid, so it's made of like aluminium or aluminum if you're in America. I'm not sure what the difference is between those metals, but I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments below. As I said, this is on Kickstarter now. I'll put a link in the description below. I highly recommend it. It's cool that it's got RGB as well. I just think it's a really good solution to a real world problem that we all have, where we're just running out of storage. There's just not enough storage, and unless you're paying ridiculous money for your iPhone, having 1 terabyte of storage, etc., it's just a really good way to back it up so then you can carry on taking photos, etc. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to give a massive shout out to DK for sending this SSD. As I said, link is in the description. I do recommend this product. It's on Kickstarter. Well, it should be on Kickstarter right now. Just check the link out to see if it's live yet. And I just want to thank you guys for sticking to the end. If you do enjoy my videos, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. And we've got some other cool reviews coming real soon, so you might want to get subscribed just so you don't miss out. So that wraps it up for another review. I'm JP, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.